Hi, I'm Lucille, I'm the Noah's Ark OT, and this is a 5-minute bite-sized video of ideas for working with your child and their ocular motor control. That's their eye movements. It's the eye, in the word, when we talk about eye-hand coordination, it's the eye bit. If your child is going to be looking towards using an iCan, this is going to be helpful for them. If they're going to be wanting to increase their eye-hand coordination, then this is also going to be helpful for them. So I am aware that many of our children have got visual impairments. This might be accessible to them, and this might be accessible. Lots of bits might work. If you're finding that it isn't working for your child, then Kirsty has some music therapy videos going up that will be more accessible. So we're going to work, if your child is a child that usually has a head support, then I'd suggest that you have them in their chair with their head support. If they're a child that doesn't normally have a head support, you might find that it's still helpful for these to have some support on their head. I'll explain why a little later. If they're a child that doesn't normally have a head support and you just want to do something different, then doing this work lying on their back, obviously not the feeding part that I'll talk about, but doing this lying on their back for a lot of children is really helpful, because it's just that little bit of feedback that they get on the back of their head that will help them do what we're aiming for, if it's possible, which is for your child to disassociate their eyes from their head, so that instead of having to work as one piece, their eyes can work separately to their head. So, going forward, one of the things that we know that often we can get the children to engage with is our faces. So do what you probably do naturally, which is to go right in with your face. Keep a little bit of a distance, I normally say sort of a hand span, a distance away from them, and just make a point of seeing where they give you eye contact, where it looks too hard for them, where they don't seem to be able to look at all. Work close and far, round the sides, and just make some notes about which bits your child finds easy to do and where they engage with you. Lots of children like your face. You can do that, and you'll probably use your voice as well when you're doing it. Be aware that you're using your voice, and if you want to take it up a notch, then drop your voice out and see if they still follow. Some children really like their own faces, so we've got a mirror, and you can do some of the patterns with that I'm going to talk you through, using the mirror and seeing if that is something that they like to focus and track with and make contact with. We know that a lot of our children like shiny things. This is from the bottom of a helium balloon, but if you haven't got something like that, then a piece of scrunched up tin foil actually is very, very similar. So using our shiny bit, I'm just going to show you the movements that work really nicely, I find, and that is to do a horizontal circle, just watching to see if they're following you and at which points they find it hard to follow you. So start about a hand span away, do a horizontal circle in an anti-clockwise direction and in a clockwise direction. Then you can do a vertical one, see where it is that they start to lose you, see which speed works for your child. You want them to be following you, not guessing where you're going to go, and not losing you entirely. If you have a look and see where they are losing you, you can go back to that space and do it a bit like an ironing board. You can go back to that space and see if you can get them to catch up with you. And so I would do 1 circle, 2 circles, slower than this, 3 circles, 4 circles. You can put in your diagonals and bring in a star and an arch, looking out for the children that prefer to look and scan with their peripheral vision. Some children just find it a bit too intense to be straight on. And then you can also work from far to close, looking to see if their eyes start to come together, which is a helpful thing to do. That's showing that they're starting to focus and bringing it away. So that's our shiny thing. We can make that slightly more exciting by shining a torch on it. This is a very weak torch, but it does make some things more exciting. And for your child, it might be that they that is the thing that makes them want to look at it more. You can make it even more exciting if you put your shiny thing on a mirror and shine your torch on it. Again, think about those shapes and making a note of where it's easy. If you want to, you make it easy, it means that child can move on and have a bigger repertoire of eye movements, or that what you're going to be doing is explaining to someone else which is the best place for them to look at something. So we've made it exciting like this. I wouldn't suggest using a torch directly in their eyes, but unless you've been told that by someone that knows your child's eyes. Even like this. Certainly not like this, again, unless you've been told for that to do with your child specifically. We know that children like contrasting things. Sometimes you need to add another sense in just to get them to engage. If you need to do that, you can always start like that and then remove the other sense to see if they still track and follow. We know that those contrasting shapes, colours work well. You can make black and white shapes yourself. You can buy them, you can print them. Again, in the multisensory realm, zesting a lemon, or apparently a lime's even nicer, and using that again in your circles, that might be the thing that just makes your child want to engage a bit more. Having said that torches aren't a good idea, the gentle LED lights, just making sure that they are gentle and working with them to see if that makes your child track and scan is a good idea. Remember to make notes of where they're looking easily, where it's a bit harder, if they're starting to look with their eyes without needing to move their heads. If you think they're on the cusp of that, then you can put your fingers just touching their chin. This is not to hold it still at all, it's just to give them a little bit of feedback at their chin, which for some children make it possible to be able to keep their head still and move their eyes. A natural time that we often do this is if your child is a child that is fed food with a spoon, then often we do this naturally, and I would suggest not working them too hard at the beginning of a session of a meal, but if you know that they've had a bit of food and they're not going to get frustrated, you can do similar things, and we often do, which is where we make it a train and all that kind of thing. Just being conscious of making a note as you go through. I normally suggest starting about handspan away when you're doing any of these movements, and to watch your child. If they start to sneeze or yawn, if they are fisting their hands or splaying their fingers, or any of the other signs that are telling you to back off, they've had enough, you can always back away and come back to redo it. You shouldn't really do eye movements for more than a couple of minutes at a time maximum. And you could do it more than twice a day if there's a lovely big gap in time. But keep an eye on a child. If they're telling you they've had enough or they're too tired, then it's time to stop. Hope that was helpful. Thank you.